Hey guys, my name is PeriCore, or some of the people in the Plazmaburst 2 community know me as Why Me. And today I would like to talk about the Advanced Level Editor. And I want to talk about what I would love to see in the editor, what I would love to see improved, and what I would love to see, implemented and stuff. And without further ado, let's get started with the first point. So the first thing I want to talk about is layers. And I'm not talking about the layers here on the left side because I see this more as a separation tool where we can um, you know, just make things disappear for us and focus on specific things, as example, doors, regions, movables, all that kind of stuff. But what I'm talking about is depth, and with depth I mean that, as example, right now we have a door here, a wall, and a player. So I want the wall to be in front of the. I want the wall behind the door, and be letting the door be the foreground aspect. And well, I already put the wall first and then the door, so the door's clearly in front of the wall. However, if I save the map now and play as a tester, um, you will see the door is still behind the wall. And with my layer system that I'm trying to suggest, this won't be the case, or you cannot let it be the case. So with layers, I mean having, as example, two background layers, one physical layer, and two foreground layers. Now, the two background layers would be there to put things into the background and, make them disappear behind the physical and the foreground. Now, the physical layer would be there to put things, well, into the character's grasp. So, as example, if I decide to put a weapon into the physical area, aka the layer where the character will always be on, um, he can interact with this. So basically, the physical area is the area where the character can still interact with everything. But things in the background and the foreground, the character cannot interact with those. So basically, I could put this weapon into the background layer, and it will be shown as a background object, as some kind of decoration or aesthetics, but not really interactable. And the same counts for the foreground, so that the weapon, as example, is shown as basically just as a foreground object. And this is basically all that needs to be said. But to put it more into detail, as example, we could put a door here, as example, stretch it out, and make this some kind of support bar, for the walls. And every time when a character runs past that, and it's in the and the support bar is in the foreground, the character will be shown behind it, as in he will not be shown when he's standing behind it. And that is basically all, and everything that's in the background, of course, will be shown behind the physical and the foreground layer, but I already said that. So basically, layers being able to put things into certain levels of the game, and yeah, basically that. So moving on to the next one. So the next point I want to pick up on is grouping and having some sorted stuff in the editor. Now, right now, if I would, as example, decide to open my Why Me school map, and I hope this will be done in a reasonable time, yeah, you can see if I scroll out, there's a lot of triggers, there's a lot of stuff going on, and that really becomes a cluster after a while. And as example, I do know this belongs to the weapon that fires a block into into a certain area. The block flashes into different colors and stuff, that kind of thing. But as example, here, I don't know what this does. I don't know what this does anymore. I don't know what this does, and so on. Basically, I would love to be able to put certain things into a group. As example, if I decide to select all of this, well, now imagine here underneath the object list would be another window that would, well, look similar. And if I now decide to put them into a group and calling it teleportation gun as example, just something like that. So basically, all those things will be put into the group teleportation gun, and when I want to edit those, because I found like a bug, or I found something that could improve the quality of that, then I can just open the group and, well, edit the specific things inside the group instead of having to search it, and believe me, it becomes really messy after a time. So, especially if you put more and more stuff, that kind of stuff. So, it would be awesome if the things outside there would also shut up. Anyways, so basically grouping, sorting things, and putting things into the groups would make it a lot easier to find them and would make working with them a lot simpler. Okay, the next thing on my list is the weapon editor window. And this is a small suggestion I have, and it's basically something very simple. Probably not simple to implement, but it's simple to explain. Right now we have the opportunity to set up the weapon model, the team of the weapon, and of course the upgrade level. And that was previously enough, but after some time we got a lot of weapon modding functions, and if I open just the gun section here, we have a lot of triggers, and that is fine. I mean, it's nice that we are given the opportunity to mod our weapons and stuff. However, what really bugs me is that we don't put these functions as a second window down here, where we can edit, as example, the weapon properties, the damage, the projectile speed, and all that kind of stuff. Because we always have to use triggers for that, and as I said, this gets really messy after some time, and it would be much easier if we could just put those here. Of course, we can keep the weapon triggers inside, because if you decide to change a weapon in game, it would be great to have a trigger, because you cannot tell a gun to change into this kind of gun after this and this time. For that, of course, we need the triggers. But it would be possible, as example, to put a window down here, and at the start of a level, this weapon will have the stats you have typed here below. And if I get around it, I will make a small UI suggestion, and if I did so, I will put it somewhere on the top right of the video where you can see what I mean by that. If I forget it, or if I don't really manage to create something good looking, then, well, there won't be anything. But for now, basically just being able to, well, set up your weapon in the weapon screen instead of, using external dragons. Fucking hell, I'm already semi-drunk. No, but what I wanted to say is triggers. Some external triggers. External dragons, how did I come to that? Anyways, that is basically all I wanted to say, and, well, moving on to the next thing. Okay, so the next thing I will pick up on is, we have a nice door combination here. There's a lot of doors, and basically it looks like a metal door thingy, I guess, but that's not really the point I want to make out here. The thing I want to say is this door right here needed a lot of trigger options, and it needed a lot of just generally it needs once again a timer and a trigger. While in reality, just like with the background, we could just type in the color of the door, and as example say this door is supposed to be gray, this is supposed to be gray, this is supposed to be gray and stuff. So putting the functions that we currently have as a trigger, and those are possible to be put into the object itself, being able to put, as example, a color picker into the door function itself, so we can set up the door and the color of it inside the window here instead of having to use an external trigger. And this is not just with doors like that, but we can do this with water as well, because a water also can get some extra color, but this requires an engine mark. We can give the players and of course the NPCs, we can give them a blood color, we can give them a blood type, we can give them body parts. And speaking already of engine marks, I mean, there's so many things we could put into the engine marks as well. As example, the gravity, the gameplay, the game speed, the FPS and stuff. This is all this things that require triggers so far, and which requires a lot of processing time, and it really slows down the engine. Putting those things into those, well, those single engine marks, characters and stuff, being able to set everything up inside the object that you place instead of using external triggers, that would be so amazing. This would make so many things easier, and I would love to see that, believe me. So please, PeriCore, make this a thing. Put all the functions that we currently have as triggers and that are possible to be put into the specific objects. Please make this a thing. This would make creation of levels so much easier. Alright, to the last topic, specific values and numbers. So I've already picked up on that in the forums, but what I'm meaning with that is if I put a push here and stability damage and hit points damage, I can always put there some kind of number like 10, and one would expect that if I put 10 basic damage here, it would cause me to lose 10 health every second or something like that. But I would be correct with the assumption that this is not correct. So I go here, I spawn here, and I go to the left, and I lose way much health than that. And I just would love to have some specific and precise stats, like 10 damage or 10 stability damage, you know, that kind of causes me to tumble or something like that, or specific explosion size, like pixels, you know, pixel size. But just give us some specific numbers that we can actually work with, and not some numbers that apparently don't really seem to have any meaning, question mark? I don't know, honestly, but some like 10 damage per second would be much more precise than 10 whatever that is. So this is the last point, and I would just hope to see all of those functions be implemented or fixed in the editor. Thank you so much for watching. If you agree with me, I would appreciate a comment, and I would appreciate if you could also reply to the thread in the forums. But as I said, this is about all. Some of the smaller things that I wanted to pick up on are not really that significant, but, well, as I said, thank you so much for watching. If you agree with me, I would appreciate a comment, and I will see you in the next video.